Yo, what's up guys? So today we're going to be showcasing off the Hakais. This deck has so much potential, and when you can mix it up with Orcust, obviously it's going to be very powerful, because I'm sure a lot of you guys already have seen the Orcust combo, which usually standardly ends with, of course, the double blade and crescendo or babble, depending on what you want to do. Now, what's really cool with the addition of the Hakai is you have potentially an extended combo here. Really what it comes down to is, if you happen to have any of the other cards that will let you get a special summon if they are destroyed, which is pretty much most of them. And again, you have a card that can search you out either any Hakai monster or any of the cards, because it's just literally add any Hakai card. You have a lot more consistency to open up with this specific play, being able to go for a Ragia turn 1. So the basic concept, not every time you're going to of course have the dangers, but consistently, if you can pull off the Orcust combo and additionally have that extra Hakai summon, you're looking at a very difficult board to break, because not only again do you have the standard Orcust 3-card negation, or you could do the double Fog Blade and of course Babble, and then you can get rid of potentially 2 cards with Dingirsu and of course the Rusty Bard. But you have that ability just to use your opponent's stuff as links, but then it gets even better, because I was like, okay, this deck is really resilient. If you guys have not seen the variant of like the Cyber's Playmaker deck, it's actually really good. And look, this guy still continuously tries to go off. I mean, we had to negate him every single time. We used all those cards, and then we also had the YGOPRO over here, and on top of that, this card during the end phase, and that's during either player's turn, you get to target a card on the field and pop it. So basically, unfortunately, even though the guy summoned a talker at the very end, even though he got stopped every single step of the way, the thing is that you're going to be able to gain so much advantage, and pretty much from this point on, it's going to be game over. This is what I would consider like the standard big boy plays that the deck can potentially do. But let's go and check out a couple extra duels showcasing off how the deck can play if you don't happen to open up with the Orcust combo, because it might not be in someone's best interest to play the Orcust build. And, you know, again, just showing off other things that the deck can technically do, because there are, of course, targets for a Limb of Darkness, and obviously that works well, especially if you're playing the Time Thief variant. Now, in this instance, we didn't open up absolutely insane, but we got a Ragia turn 1, and this could be enough just to shut down a deck. For example, the new Marnstus, which we will cover very soon. In fact, we already got gameplay of it. It'll be uploaded, like I said, very soon. But today, I wanted to cover the Hakais because I think this archetype has a lot more potential at the end of the day. But this guy just basically just in GG, because he basically needs to link up over and over again. And some decks, they don't have that resilience of coming back. Whereas I feel like with the Hakais, you are kind of technically locked into Fiends. But obviously you special summon a bunch of non-Fiends and then you go for your combo, which can obviously be very easy. But once again, pretty much it's the same bread and butter combo. A Ragia turn 1, and then you have Dirge over here, which is going to be excellent. But here's a duel up against Mystic Mind to showcase up that matchup. So he activates Twin Twisters, and he's going to get a free Magatama off of this because, again, those free extra cards are quite nice. So once we have the card activated, you'll see why I wanted to showcase off this, because there are certain times where there's a specific card that you need to get rid of. In this instance, I mean, it's just Mystic Mind. Well, it's a Mystic Mind variant of course, probably just splashing them, but it's mostly to show you guys that matchup specifically. But you'll see the Whale of the Hakaishin over here. So if you link summon a Hakai monster, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. And if the set card was destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon a Hakai monster from your deck. Now, I was unaware of this. You could destroy it yourself and you still get those effects, which obviously you guys saw in the first replay over here. Which, again, the deck is strong. I mean, you guys can see the deck can OTK. And on top of that, if our opponent was to make something, I mean, we would just be able to link summon to Hakai, maybe absorb it into another Hakai monster, and on top of that, we get a pop a card, and the YGOPRO can also pop a card during the end phase. So you get a lot of advantage here, and that's really how the Hakais can be very strong. But as of right now, there's not enough Hakais, just in general. But again, just going into the standard bread and butter combo, go ahead and trying to make the first turn Ragia. It's going to be pretty common in the deck. Then we're going to see YGOPRO go ahead and summon some extra cards. He's going to go ahead and make the Striker Dragon. That goes ahead and gets stopped, and that's going to really hurt. But he still has ways to go into other things. But of course, don't forget, Ragia is going to go ahead and be like, oh, you want to go for something? I'm sorry. The disruption that Yugioh offers is huge over here. And he's just going to be able to go ahead and pop that card. Really good stuff. Where is that effect? When another monster is destroyed by battle, you get to also target one card on the field and destroy it. And during the end phase, you can target a card on the field and also destroy it. And more importantly, if a card on the field is destroyed by a card effect over there, and this is indeed a quick effect. So I like that. That's really extra disruption to your opponent. But again, we got another matchup here against what I would say is still a very popular deck, the Salamander Greats. Even though on the OCG they got hit, we'll have to wait and see what they do with the TCG here. But once again, going for just some dangers here to kind of go into essentially the Orcust Combo and then extending it further. Once again, it's a difficult board for most things to be. I mean, Salamander Great has to go for links for the most part. I mean, I guess you can go into Mirage and then pass. But like, in order to get like the effects, you're gonna obviously use it as material. But then at that point, I guess they would tactically bounce your card back, but then you would just go ahead and use their monster, and then your card would be gone anyways, right? So I don't know, it puts them in a pretty bad situation, and there's the standard bread and butter combo, the full Orcust board. In this instance, we got Crescendo and Babel. Like, it's a difficult board to break. And then this has a quick effect too. If we're popping something, we're gonna pop again. So again, the deck is going to be good. He's going to go ahead and Balinks and go ahead and summon that other card. But, you know, poor Gazelle, Ripperoni, it is now sent to the Shadow Realm. He's going to go ahead and add another card. You can go ahead and Spinny. Obviously, we're going to try to make Sunlight Wolf, but once that's it, like, no roars, no rage, you can't really do too much. He's going to go ahead and try to go for something. But during the end phase, we're popping stuff, so I like it. The deck's good. You guys have seen it in action here, but let's go ahead and hop into a deck profile in case any of you guys did want to play this deck. Now, this deck is going to be a 60-card variant. Obviously, we're mixing the dangers, the Orcus in here. But let's go ahead and hop into the deck profile. And shout out to my boy Magus for sending this in. And also, guys, we will be covering the Marian sets very soon. So if you guys were interested in that, like the 2 new archetypes, we'll be doing that very soon. So anyways, let's go ahead and hop into the deck profile. So first off, we've got double Bigfoot, double Thunderbird. I absolutely love these cards. I like playing both of these at once, just in like most danger decks. It gives you a lot of options. Also, if you're playing the Neo Space Connector, which can basically give you additional targets because then you'll control monster with stronger attack. And then we got 3 copies of Magatama. I definitely think you want 3 Magatama. Obviously, for danger builds, it's usually 3 Nessie, 3 Tsuchinoko, and of course the Jackalope. That's like kind of standard, but 2 snakes in this one. And we got 2 copies of Nightmare, 3 copies of the Horror, and then we got 2 copies of Chupacabra, 3 copies of Ara. We got 3 copies of Rakia. They basically have the same effect, just one is a different element. That's really all it comes down to. And then we have 2 copies of the Tsuchinoko and 3 copies of Symbol Skeleton. If you guys want to also suggest anything for this build, feel free to let me know down below in the comment section below. But shout out to my boy Magus for building this deck. I thought it was pretty cool of a mix-up. But I think you can cut certain cards just to make the deck a little bit more consistent, especially with Symbol Skeleton. I think majority of the time, especially if you go for the turn 1 Din Girsu play, there's one tactical problem with this though, because sometimes depending on the order of you doing certain things, it can matter because you won't be able to summon that first Din Girsu that you want to put in the graveyard, then you reset the Symbol Skeleton because, of course, you're going for your plays with the pop, so just be aware of that. But I think Symbol Skeleton, you can definitely run it at 1. It's pretty easy. You can also reset it with the Crescendo as well. And then we have 1 copy of Cloak, 3 copies of Jackalope, 3 copies of Boots, 2 copies of the Cannon, 3 copies of Allure, 3 copies of Prying, 3 copies of the Shackles, 3 copies of the, if you link someone, you get to pop 1. And then we have Babel, we have 2 copies of Hakai Homily. So let's say you target a Hakai monster you control and 1 card in the field and you destroy both of those. That can add a little bit of synergy. And it also has that effect that you want where if it's destroyed and it's set, you just special summon Hakai. These basically both have the same effect. With Dirge, you could also special summon it from your hand or graveyard. Then, of course, the Fog Blades and Climax. Then for the extra deck, 2 Din Girsu, 2 copies of Raigu, 2 copies of Arba. We got the Rusty Bard, we got Phoenix, 2 copies of Galatea. And we got 2 copies of Ragia, 1 copy of Cerberus, and 2 Mermaid. Now that you guys seen the deck, let me go ahead and give you guys some suggestions because I feel like certain cards you guys can definitely cut, especially with this card. I've never really liked playing that many. With Harp Horror, if you're playing the a lot of dangers, you can technically play 3. It just allows you to kind of extend. Again, with the options of cannon. You can run 1-for-1. I have seen that build as well. That was also in the OCG. It was actually not that bad, especially if you're playing 3 Prime, but honestly, I don't know how I feel about like triple crescendo, and also like these cards, I feel like you can search them out, and opening up multiple can be kind of bad. Obviously with this, you just kind of need one, and it is searchable because you have this. Yeah, you can only activate 1 per turn, but I think you can cut down certain cards in the deck if you wanted to. And then you could have more consistency, and specifically Called by the Grave could be an excellent addition. I think Ash Blossom is very strong as well. You can drop the Chupacabras if you want as well, and try to condense the deck a little bit. Even this, I think the optimal, I just like playing like these two specifically. You have a lot more consistency with that. But as far as the extra deck, I definitely think you can drop a Mermaid. I definitely think for the longer stages of the game, especially if you play Jackalope and Tsuchinoko, you can definitely also run the Phantom Knight Exceed, which is the Break Sword. I've actually really liked this card, especially for the grind games. This can actually be very, very helpful, especially since this is also a level 3 monster. Keep in mind, you are technically locked to Fiends, and this is a warrior, but for the most part, I think this would be a little bit more consistent for you. Oh, also, probably you only need 2 Fog Blades if you're only playing this amount. But definitely Called by the Grave would be a great addition. I always love maxing out on this card. This card is so good. But there it is. Actually, since we did drop the Dark Count, if you wanted to drop another one. But you guys get the idea. You can condense it down to like a 40 card deck if you really wanted to. And at this point, you can drop one of those, depending on your choices over here. But anyways, yeah, that is the Hakais. You guys have seen some really good gameplay over there. But let me know, guys, what you think of the archetype and what other things can we splash it into. I know Dangers, you can pretty much splash Danger and Orcust into most things in the game, but honestly, it adds more disruption. I mean, I love the plays with the Regu over here. Good stuff indeed. But like I said, Martin says coming very soon, guys. So if you're new to the channel here, you want to see that, hit the subscribe button. You'll definitely see it very soon. But if you guys got any cool replays, like I said, I'd love to see what else the Hakais can do. But right now, we definitely have to mix it up into something because, well, that's just the way it works because we don't have enough Hakais. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Peace out. We out.